Are you ready to retire, but you're kind of torn between aging in place or moving to a 55 plus community? Well, guess what? Me too. These are the things we all are thinking about right now. The decision we make will affect many things: our lifestyle, our health, our finances, and really our happiness. So today I want to talk about each one, which is going to have these pros and cons. The other one has these pros and cons, and then I'll let you decide. But this is how I struggle. I'm in the same boat. I live in Scottsdale, Arizona. My son and his wife and my two little grandkids, 7 and 4, who are, by the way, the light of my life, live very near me. Do I want to stay in my current home, which I adore, or do I want to leave them and live in a 55 plus community? Stick all the way to the end and I'll tell you what my decision has been. It's been a tough one, but I think I've come to a logical conclusion. But let's dive in and talk about the good and the bad of each one, and then I'll let you decide. So first, let's talk about your lifestyle and day-to-day living. If you stay put, nothing really is going to change, or is it? But for the most part, you've got your familiar routine. You've got your neighborhood. You're not going to have to pack up all your stuff and get rid of everything. You're going to stay right there and age in place. That means you don't have to get a new grocery store, a new library, a new church, new friends. But what I want you to think about is, what are you going to do in 10 years when your friends all said, oh, hey, we moved to Florida, we moved to Arizona, we moved to South Carolina. Who are you going to hang out with? And then worse yet, when they start to pass away, do you want to be the last man standing in your hometown? Maybe, maybe not. You are going to have to rely on your community. Now, some are better than other communities, so a lot of this, guys, depends on where you live. If you want a fitness place, maybe you have a great YMCA system. Here in Scottsdale, we do have that. Our 55 plus communities in Arizona are not really in Scottsdale. They are other places to have affordability. But we've got a great YMCA system here. We've got great private gyms, but those things do come at a cost. You are going to have to make sure you've got health care. If you're currently living maybe in a more rural area on a beautiful 5-acre lot in Oregon or something, maybe there isn't health care in a very close radius. Doesn't matter where you live, health care at our age and as we start to age is going to be very, very important. So for aging in place, you really have to think about that. Now, the flip side to that is living in a 55 plus community. You are going to have a very big lifestyle. You guys, it's summer camp for adults. You have got all the fitness right on site. Things you didn't even know that you wanted to do, you will be able to try. Maybe you've never played bocce ball, but you're going to join a team to have a social interaction. You can go to multiple fitness centers. You can swim every day. If you don't want to swim, you can just go lounge in the pool with your little umbrella drink if you want and talk to people, or if you're like me, not talk to people. You can go to arts and crafts. Again, thinking of things maybe you've always wanted to try, but you never thought. You're not going to go down to your local community center and say, I had a revelation in the night that I want to take a pottery class. Sometimes we do that, but generally we keep saying, someday I'll take pottery. In this case, 55 plus communities have all of those things to do built in. You are going to have as much fun as you want, or I should say as you dare, because sometimes it can be overwhelming. There's so many fun things to do, but that is the opposite of living in the regular world or staying where you're at, which not bad for some people. But if you're somebody who's ready to start living, the 55 plus community, just based on the system that it is going to provide you a lot more activity. You're still going to have health care, hopefully very close if we select the right community for you, and all the citified things, but inside the radius of your community, mega things to really enhance your lifestyle. So next, let's talk about the financial. Staying put, you would think, oh, it's not going to cost me anymore. Well, staying put for many of you will cost a lot more. Maybe you are in a very large home where you raised your family. Maybe it's an older home. Maybe you're in a high tax state. That makes a big difference in some of your financial calculations, and you need to put current taxes where you are and current taxes for property taxes and income taxes, all of those things for all the places you think you're going to go. Get your spreadsheet, have where you live on one column and then each location. And sometimes we do that even by neighborhood, depending on how far we're going to drill down here. But don't feel like, well, if I stay here because my house is paid off, I'm home free. Taxes tend to be the big killer. The next thing is maintenance. You may live in a home that you built in the 70s, or some of you out there I know are living in antique homes from Victorian era, which are fantastic, but maintenance, maintenance, maintenance. So you need to be factoring that in. When we talk about a 55 plus community, many of our clients choose to buy a brand new home. Why do they choose that? Because everything is brand new. You're getting a brand new HVAC system. You've got a brand new roof. Now, if you're buying a resale home, some of those things may be already taken care of. We had some clients out this week and what they were looking at. Lots of them had new features, roofs, HVAC systems. Some even had both. So we can find something like that in a resale home or in a brand new home. Taxes, same thing. Arizona taxes are fairly low. Florida taxes, fairly low, although insurance is kind of inching up in Florida. So you need to think about that. Here in Arizona, taxes for property are very low. Our insurance is very low. Guys, we don't have the disasters that drive insurance costs up. We have nothing to burn. All we have is warm and warmer weather. We don't have hurricanes. We don't have tornadoes. So that is going to keep your monthly expense for insurance down. The other financial thing that many of you are already thinking of, but if you're not very far into your research journey yet, I want to tell you, that is maybe you're going to sell high and buy low. So maybe you're in a place where the market went way up, California, the East Coast, other places along the West Coast, the Pacific Northwest. You might have a lot of home equity. Selling that home and cashing out to buy something smaller in a 55 plus community might give you an extra nest egg. And if you stay in your current home where you're at, you could pull that money out with a reverse mortgage or, get a second HELOC or something like that. But why? Why would you? So be thinking about those financial aspects of making this move. And I think that'll help you see that going down this rabbit trail that clearly you're on, or you wouldn't have found this video, it's probably a good path to be on. So let's talk about the elephant in the room. At least it kind of is with my kids. They're adults now, but they always kind of look at me like, Mom, you're getting older and you're going to need health care. Healthcare is very important. And again, if you're living in a place that you love, and it may be great, you really have to assess what is your health care. Now, I know a lot of people will say, oh, we can't leave because we like our doctors. Has anybody else noticed this, or is it just me? Doctors are now on like a revolving door. My parents have followed their primary care person to like 3 different locations, none of which now are convenient to them. They were driving 45 minutes because they loved this gal. And guess what? Now she's left the state. So why have we been driving around to see Dr. B all this time, as great as she was, when she was going to leave anyway? Don't feel like you're married to your care providers. Heck, they might even end up in Arizona. This is the land of healthcare. So having good healthcare is going to be a big factor. Now, I will tell you that in our 55 plus communities, lots of healthcare. For sure, the big medical networks, they do their demographic studies when they go to buy land, and they'll say there are X number of people in a 5-mile radius from this piece of land. If those people are over the age of 50, that means money to them, you guys. Joint replacements, heart surgeries, all the things that we older people need, unfortunately, are going to be provided by that health network. So they are very smart. Healthcare is readily available in almost every 55 plus community area that we see. Some do have more than others. Some of our Tucson communities, it might be 15 or 20 minutes, but you've still got great healthcare nearby. So that is going to be something that you're going to want to factor in. The biggest thing is where you live right now. It might be a ways to a trauma center. Now, most of us aren't going to get in a major trauma car accident or something, but what if all of a sudden you have a stroke or you have a massive heart attack? How long is it going to take for the paramedics to get you stabilized, and then get you to a world-class facility? My very best friend in the world had this happen with her mother. Still lives, aging in place, in her farmhouse where she has always been. Now, a 55 plus community is not an option for sweet Grandma Jane. It's not going to happen. But she recently had a stroke. Her healthcare options were not good. The nearest hospital was a little tiny podunk place, and they didn't even apply the stroke protocol. I don't know if they didn't know what they were supposed to do or they were goofing off. I have no idea, but come on. That is something we have to be thinking of. If you currently live rural, you might want to be thinking about moving to a 55 plus community so you can be near good healthcare. Our Sun City areas have big hospitals right on the outside boundary of the city or community. You can't get any closer than that. And yeah, if you have a stroke, they're going to know what to do. You need to be treated in the first few minutes so that you can recover easier. So those kind of things are very, very important when you're thinking, should I stay where I'm at or should I go to a new place? Staying where you're at may be a good idea if you already, let's say you live where I used to live in Scottsdale, 8 minutes from Mayo Clinic. Okay, the best healthcare in the state and probably the world was 8 minutes from me. Didn't want to really leave that, but I found a better house and went about 30 minutes from Mayo. Still very, very close. And now I have even more options. But healthcare is a huge consideration, whether we want to think about it or not. Nobody pencils in, stroke at 1 p.m. on the 22nd on their calendar. It's either going to happen or it's not. We kind of need to be making plans in case we need it. So I see 55 plus communities as a big win healthcare-wise. So next, let's talk about the hard part, emotions and family. Some of you do not have close family, so the decision is much, much easier for you. Other people, like myself, family for me really is everything. Do I really want to leave my grandkids? No. I already left my family home, so I've already made one little jump, which makes it easier. But for many people, they're still living in a beautiful big home full of memories. You've got all the photos on the wall of your kids since birth. Many of you, and I'd advise you to take this down if you just do decide to sell, have that whole wall of every class picture and then the graduations and then the weddings of your kids. It's beautiful, but are those kids coming to see you? I can tell you, though, from personal experience, if you announce, kids, we're going to be moving to a 55 plus community, they're going to start in with the guilt immediately. The guilty things are going to be put upon you. Well, you can't leave us. What will we do? Here's your answer to that. And what I want you to really assess with your heart and in conversation with your family members. And it could be you've got aging parents. That's a whole other thing that we have to think of. But for right now, we're just going to talk about kids, grandkids. You need to evaluate, don't say this to them, but evaluate. How often do they call me to come over for pizza on Friday night? Never? Yeah, there's the answer. How often do they just pop over to your house? Never. Maybe on Thanksgiving, or maybe if they need you to do something or watch their children. But are you really engaging with them as much as you would like to, or as much as you think you are in your mind? Lots of people, when they think of leaving family, they start thinking about all those beautiful holidays and the Christmas tree and everybody gathered around and all the aunts making gravy and mashed potatoes. Guys, that ship has sailed. It's not happening anymore. At least in my family, all the kids have scattered and they are very busy with their lives. My grandkids are little, but they're starting to get busy in things. They're playing soccer, they're playing basketball, which, by the way, my little grandson scored his first points the other day, 6 points in a game, but I digress. I had to work, so I didn't get to see it. But that's few and far between. Moving to a 55 plus community, you'll have a whole new life, a whole new circle of friends, and something to fill that time instead of sitting around twiddling your thumbs thinking, I wonder if the kiddies are going to stop by and see me. Guess what? They're not. They're not coming. But if you live in a 55 plus community, especially in a nice sunny warm place with lots of pools and fun things to do, they're more likely to come 3 to 5 quality days where you're going to have them breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Trust me when I tell you, you're going to want to vacate and take a nap when they leave. But it's good quality time. They go back to their life. You go back to your big, rich life in the community. You're making new memories. Or maybe you just say, hey kids, this year we rented a beach house and mom and dad are going to pay for it and we'll see you all at the beach for a family vacation. They're maybe not coming to your 55 plus community, but you're still going to get that quality time another way versus, well, we're just going to sit here and hope that the kids stop by this weekend and it's week after week and they're not coming. So don't be guilted when you start to gently break the news to your family members that you're thinking of a change. Generally, they're not going to like it. But this is our time, you guys. We have to think about us. In my case, I raised those kids. I sacrificed everything that I had, and I remind them of that all the time, so that they could be who they are today. I'm on me time now, and I'm going to live the biggest darn life that I can and enjoy it. So next, let's talk about communities and security. As we get older, especially if you are alone like I am, or any of us don't plan to be alone, and then one partner unfortunately passes away or something, but here we are. If you stay in your current community, might be just fine. It may be very, very safe. But you guys, we all know American towns and cities have changed. My hometown of Colorado Springs now is almost unrecognizable. High murder rate, shootings, robberies in good parts of town. And so would I want to be aging in place there in my giant big home? No, definitely not. In a 55 plus community, many of them have a security patrol. If it's gated, like Pebble Creek, patrol guys that drive around. They're not police, but if they see your garage doors open, they're gonna call you. They will be on notice if you go on vacation to kind of look out for things. If you're out in the regular world, you're going to have to rely on home watch systems, maybe life alert bracelets, and you might end up getting that too in case you fall and can't get up in your 55 plus community. But I can tell you this from personal experience with my sister. When she got very sick and her husband was out of town, the neighbor saw the fire engine lights, rushed across the street, found her on the floor with the paramedics, and called her husband. Because that's what a 55 plus community is like. You know your neighbors. How many of you have lived in the same house for 28 years and never talked to the people on either side, much less across the street? Maybe the original people that your kids grew up with their kids, they're all gone. You don't know those neighbors. They could see paramedics and they won't even care. So For security, I think a 55 plus community is a great option. You've got services in most communities. If you've seen one of my videos where I talked about the Care Bear system at Pebble Creek, neighbors watching out for each other. If you're alone and you can't drive anymore, or maybe your partner can't drive, there'll be somebody to give you a ride to your doctor's appointments. You've got all of those built-in services and systems. You don't need it today when you're 59 years old, but when you're 79, it might be good to have that as an option. So for just overall security, I think a 55 plus community really can't be beat. So our next thing, home maintenance. Oh my gosh, you guys, if you've seen any of my videos, you've seen this clip over and over. I'll put it up here again of my son using my giant snowblower on my giant driveway when we had a huge amount of snow. And I think when this happened, it might have been just September. So about, April, you get real sick of having to maintain and keep the driveway clear. I don't miss that one little bit. But you're going to have a lot of maintenance things. Maybe you have a big grassy yard that you have to mow and fertilize and water. I no longer have to do that. I live in a community where everything is a desert landscape and we don't even have gutters. I bet you live in a neighborhood where you have to have your gutters cleaned because you've got big trees dumping crap in your gutters. We don't even have gutters in Arizona unless somebody from the Midwest bought the house and then they'll put up gutters because they think they need it. But realistically, you don't need gutters. We're never going to use a snowblower, and most of us would laugh at the thought of having a lawnmower. I put just nice green turf in my yard, and I'd like to say AstroTurf, but that makes it sound like I'm from the 70s. You know what I mean? Just fake grass is turf. But I look at that green every day, and about every 8 weeks, a guy comes and blows off all the leaves, and that's all I have to do. I never have to pay a lawnmower guy again. I never have to get out there in the cold and snap that snowblower thing to get it turned on and then run it up and down the driveway 18 times. Those days for me are over. Our Arizona homes, especially if you buy a newer home, much less maintenance. One story. Very little paint required. Maybe every 8 years or so you might need to paint, but you've got a small house to paint. The fee is going to be very small. And in some HOA situations, they might do the painting for you. If you buy a twin home in Sun City or a villa in any of the Robeson communities, they take care of all that for you. They even do the roof. So be thinking about that. Maybe if you think, oh, my roof might only have 5 more years, might be time to think about getting out. So maintenance, no brainer, guys. It wins every time 55 plus community versus staying in place, at least in my book. So let's talk about who should stay and who should go. Sounds like we're on the game of Survivor. We're not going to vote anybody off the island here, but maybe you're going to vote yourself into a 55 plus community. Who should stay? People who are just deeply entrenched, and maybe it's not a good time to leave your kids. Maybe they do need a lot of help. Maybe you've got elderly parents that need a lot of help. And maybe you're just a private person and your life goal is to get a recliner and watch Wheel of Fortune every day. If that's you, I think that's great. It's not going to be me. I can tell you that because, I can only win Jeopardy when it's elementary school week. So I have given up trying. I'm going to need more than that. The people who should go to a 55 plus community are people that want to help their finances, want to help their fitness and overall health journey. People who are craving community and really want to make the most of this next chapter of their life. If that's you, you shouldn't stay put and age in place. You probably don't have all the bars in your shower. You don't have easily accessible features for your home, but you can pay a guy to add all of that and, keep going. There's nothing wrong with it. If it makes you happy, that's what you should do. So back to what I said earlier about my story. Many of you already know this if you've watched very many of my videos. I have a very nice home in Scottsdale. It's not super big and it's great, but the community has no life. So about 2 years ago, I bought a home in a 55 plus community that I will move to, hopefully sooner rather than later, where there is life, there is activity. They have bingo every Tuesday night. It kills me that I can't be there now. Right now, I'm still improving my current home so I can max out the value. And by the time I'm ready to move, my kids won't even notice that I'm gone. I think I'll move and then say, oh, by the way, I moved 6 months ago and you never called me. And I guess now the secret's out. But that is my plan. Aging in place would not be for me. I really want more than that. I want people to talk to, things to do, places to go. I want to be on the bus trip to the Rose Parade. Nothing like that is happening in our regular neighborhoods. Yeah, you could join a group, but you have to really work hard to find the group. So if this kind of feels like you, what I want you to do is reach out to me at the number below on the screen. Let's have a talk about all of your options. We also should be talking about what's your current home value? How would we get your home sold? What is your time frame? All of those things I can assist you with, and my team and I will help put together the best plan for you to start the next chapter of your retirement years.